Yeah, I mean, look at start for him. I think compared to everyone else that he was on the ice there, you could tell that just the puck comes off of his stick different than a lot of these rookies that were out there. He's got a lot more strength compared to them. The big battles that I was kind of looking for was to, I think he's going to dominate against Victor Persson or Canuck Leaper when he's in the lineup against those guys. But Jet Wu was the player where every single time I saw 92 going up against 52 was I wanted to watch that battle because Jet Wu would be as close to NHL competition that we could see Podkolzin play against. And honestly, Podkolzin kind of just physically dominated everyone from Jet Wu all the way down the lineup. It just looked like Podkolzin was on another level. The only person that was really matching Podkolzin's game had to be Mikey DiPietro. And it was kind of funny to watch Podkolzin a few times. Like, I know that we haven't heard him speak a lot of English, but he knows a lot of four-letter words because Mikey DiPietro was shutting him down on quite a few moves where it should have probably gone in. But just looking at Podkolzin throughout the day, it was nice to see him, helping out with Danny Klimovich, who, English is a lot more of a struggle for him right now. So you can see Podkolzin helping him out with a lot of drills. And honestly, one of the more vocal guys. I think like three guys that I noticed that, because we were only at day one of camp, which we can get into later. I find it ridiculous. But we were only at day one of camp. We only got to see the first day there. But you could tell that Jet Wu was very vocal. Chase Waters, out of Saskatoon Blades, 3-year captain in the WHL. He was a very vocal guy and kind of showed some leadership qualities right off the bat. And then Podkolzin as well. I mean, every goal scored, big celebration from Podkolzin, big fist bumps and everything with every single player he was with. So I think he's jacked up to be here. And honestly, he looked like he was on another level compared to everyone else on the ice. Like I said, aside from Mikey DiPietro.
So who are you playing him with at the start of the season?
Yeah, I'm gonna really I'm really excited to see what happens with that second line battle. I personally still think that this isn't what I would go with, but I think that we're still going to see Tanner Pearson play with Bo Horvat. That's just, Travis Green's fallback plan has always been to put Pearson with Horvat on the second line, and they'll play with Garland. So the third line, and this is kind of what I like about it, is the fact that Höglander and Podkolzin are talking about this relationship that they're building together. They've been friends ever since they were drafted. It was a lot of fun to see Podkolzin and Höglander be the wingers on Jason Dickinson's third line. And even then, you get a chance to see Travis maybe move around some lines. If JT Miller comes down and play on that third line for a little bit, that's a really exciting third line that'll get some weak matchups. And to think that Podkolzin, Miller, and Höglander would go up against other teams' third pairings, that sounds like an absolute dominance coming from a third line there. So it's going to be interesting to see how Dickinson's used. It's weird because I think all Canucks fans and everyone who follows this team, when they picked up Dickinson, everyone's like, boom, third line center. This is the third line center for us moving forward. He's going to be free. He signs the contract. Everyone's excited for it. But all we keep hearing from Jim Benning and Travis Green is about Dickinson's versatility and how he can play on the wing. And it's something that Canucks fans aren't talking about, but obviously the coaching staff management is. So I'm going to be kind of curious to see how the third line shakes out. But I do think Podkolzin starts there and ends up potentially working his way up just because of his size. I think he might have a better chance getting up there with Horvat. So it'll be interesting to see. I think he's a middle six guy to start the year for sure.
Yeah, I that's the one you nailed it with the JT Miller wild card. He showed that I think he could play a not a 1C, but he could play in a center in one of the other two lines in your top nine. And yeah, the idea of a Miller, Höglander, and Podkolzin, quote unquote, third line would be just if it hits the way I think it should, that could be one of the most dangerous lines in the league just because of matchups, as you said, going up against third pairs, second pairs. They could rip apart the league in that role. And Pearson. But the other thing is, I wonder if they still stick with Pearson, Horvat, and Höglander, and then maybe look at trying to build a real deep lineup in that top nine with a Garland,